Miss Sprint Cup Kim Kuhn. Welcome to Ford.com live from Homestead-Miami Speedway and Ford Championship Weekend. This is your all-access pass. Now, welcome your host from PRN, ESPN Radio, and Sirius XM Radio, Pat Patterson.
Kim, thank you so much. What a great introduction. It's Ford Championship Weekend. Are you as excited about this as I am?
I'm so excited. You know, I love Miami, so glad to be back my own stopping ground.
3 big titles coming up starting tonight here. And, of course, tomorrow afternoon, we got a Ford in the fight for the Nationwide Series Championship. And, of course, you'll be busy on Sunday as well. Thank you so much for that kind introduction.
Absolutely, anytime.
I know you got a lot to do. Kim Kuhn, we appreciate her stopping by. Ford's big display, 38,000 feet right here of nothing but fun for race fans, for everybody that shows up at Ford Championship Weekend. We have got 3 great shows for you. Starting today, I'm Pat Patterson, of course, and I'll be your host for these next 3 days as we're going to show you the inside of here at the Ford display. Coming up tomorrow, into the garage. Now, you talk about some fun. We're going to get a chance to meet some of the folks behind the scenes, as well as Sam Hornish Jr. will be with us. Coming up today, though, let's talk about today's program. Richard Petty, the 7-time champ. We'll get a chance to chat with him. We're going to go over and take a look at a Generation 6 NASCAR Stock Car Sprint Cup Series car with the Wood brothers and get a chance to talk with them a little bit about their season and about the car itself. But we're going to start things off by getting you totally oriented as to this Ford display and all of the great things that all of these lucky fans who are here with us get a chance to see. And helping me describe all of that action is my good friend from Ford Racing, Tim Duerr, who is with us all year long, and he can't wait for Ford Championship Weekend too. Tim, I know you guys worked hard to get this display set up. First of all, thanks for everything Ford's done. This is going to be a great weekend.
Pat, thanks for emceeing. Thanks for being with us all weekend, too. He's the racing guy, by the way, Ford fans, and we're thrilled to have him with us hosting these TV shows over the next 3 days. At Ford Racing, you know, this is our 12th year that we put on Ford Championship Weekend, and we couldn't be prouder. It gives us an opportunity to really be big in this sport with a marketing activation that exceeds anybody else in the industry when it comes to the automotive segment. But here at Homestead-Miami Speedway, it's more than just our display. We do the entitlement of all 3 of the premier series of NASCAR, the Ford EcoBoost 200, the Ford EcoBoost 300, and the Ford EcoBoost 400. And we can't be prouder than to be partners with Ford or Homestead-Miami Speedway and International Speedway Corp. and bring you a little taste of what our display looks like here today. First of all, did you know that every 42 seconds, Ford Motor Company sells an F-Series truck? So we're counting them down. We're at 645,000 already, and we're counting every 42 seconds we sell another one of these beautiful Ford F-Series pickup trucks.
Let's talk about the fact that, you know, Ford is such the leading brand with the pickup trucks, and you've got a ton of those trucks here on display right here and right now. In fact, we were just standing by this beautiful F-150 EcoBoost machine. It's on display here. But let's talk a little bit about what's happening in the display right now. As a matter of fact, it looks like if you take a good look at the zip line that these guys have brought right now, we're about to launch another lucky fan. Whose idea was the zip line?
This was Experience Communications' idea. They brought this to us last year and said, your fans will have so much fun riding down this zip line. And I got to tell you what, they line up for hours waiting for do this. Now, obviously, we've just opened up the display today on Friday, but wait till Sunday. Sunday, there'll be a line so long to the thrill of riding down this zip line. But we're proud of it. It's just one of the new integrated additions that we add every year to Ford Championship Weekend.
Tim, let's let everybody know that's watching us online right now at fordracing.com that you can tweet us with a question. That's right. You can be part of our program today. Just tweet us at Ford Racing hashtag FCW Live. That's FCW Live. Ford Racing FCW Live. And you can also send us an email, and you can send it directly to me at espnraceguy@gmail.com. espnraceguy@gmail.com. All right, they're just about ready to launch up here at the zip line. This is what you get to do when you come to Ford Championship Weekend here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. You get all of the fun stuff that Ford brings with them. And you can see right now, it's pretty nervous people up there. They got that kind of, you know, anticipation smile on their face. I don't know how many times how many times you've been down the zip line, Tim?
I do it about once or twice a day. That's all an old guy like I can really handle.
All right, let's just see. We're going to watch these guys as they get ready to launch here, and then we're going to walk around and see some of the other fun stuff here. Oh, the door's opening. That means it's time to go. Let's see if they're going to just jump, or we're going to have to push them out. Oh, here we go. He's got his hands on the lever. There she goes. Look at her ride, the zip line right here at the Ford Racing display, all the way down Homestead-Miami Speedway. Whoa. Almost had a heart attack just watching that. That's so scary. Look at the big smile, though. They had fun. Look at that. They had a great time. Speaking of great time, you can have a great time in this beautiful Ford F-150 right here. Look at this engine. Ford EcoBoost, 365 horsepower, 420 pounds of foot torque, 16 in the city, and 22 out on the highway. That's impressive, no doubt about it. You know I'm a Ford truck guy. I've got a big F-250 Super Duty. Love the Ford trucks. Here's another one. Take a look at this. Beautiful F-150 right there. Crew cab. Got the beautiful running boards on it. Ford spares no expense at making these trucks what you, the race fans, want. And that's so cool that we get a chance to come out, and you get a chance to come out and see all of this great product. There's the zip line again. They're just kind of taking the harness off and stuff. So exciting. I'll tell you what, let's try to let's get a quick reaction out of this young lady right here if we can. Ma'am, I got to ask you real quick, how much fun was it? Did you have fun?
That was an absolute blast.
Would you do it again?
Yes, definitely.
Are you a Ford fan?
I'm definitely a Ford fan.
Oh, God bless you. We appreciate that. You pulling for who you pulling for Sunday afternoon?
Matt Kenseth.
All right. Well, we appreciate you being out here, and have some fun today, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Man, just one of the fans that's out here on the zip line having a great time. Now, let's move over here and check some more stuff out. Tim Duerr, what do we want to look at next?
Well, I want to show, the heartbeat of our entire display is to engage with our race fans, and we do that through collecting their data. I'm going to turn this over to Mo Creeder for a minute to give you an example of what goes on here with the Ford Racing data capture at the display. Mo?
Thanks, Tim. Consumers can come to our display and register, and while registering, they have a chance to win a vehicle worth $30,000, win an Ultimate Fan Package to Daytona for next year, as well as play all of our activities in our display. They get a free digital autograph, as well as enjoy all the vehicles that we have going on here.
We have die casts, we have posters, we have all kinds of giveaways here at the Ford Racing display, but the most important thing is we want to engage with our fans. We know that Ford Racing fans love the product, they love the racing brand. When they come to us, they're our favorite customers by far. Ford Motor Company sells more vehicles to race fans than any other segment out there in the industry. I also want to walk you over here and show you a little bit more about the display. We're running out of time as far as the display because I just saw the King walk in. The King, Richard Petty's going to be here, and Pat's going to do a nice interview with him. But here's our Shelby GT500 flipped over on the side. You can see what the undercarriage of the vehicle looks like. Great, great, great performance vehicle. Now, we're going to be unveiling the new 2015 here pretty soon, and we're really thrilled to be able to have that in our display, most likely next year, and also pacing Ford Championship weekend. I also want to show you the Ford Raptor, and then we have our two smaller performance vehicles also with us today, the Focus ST and the Fiesta ST. Good-looking cars. Also, I want to pan over here to my left and show you our electrification booth. We've got the Fusion Hybrid plug-in. We've got the C-Max Energy plug-in hybrid. We've got the C-Max Hybrid, and then the Focus Electric, all-electric, fully plug-in vehicle. Obviously, you wouldn't think, why would you show why would you show electric vehicles at a racetrack? But our research shows that race fans buy these vehicles, and they're very excited to come into our display to take a look at them. Also over here, I want to show you, I don't think a lot of you haven't seen this yet, but Ford's new 1-liter EcoBoost engine. First time seen here in the United States, and it'll be appearing in the new Ford Fiesta. That's a 1-liter EcoBoost engine. We're thrilled to be able to offer that, the ultimate in fuel efficiency. This engine is 32 miles per gallon city, 35 highway, and 37 combined in the great little Ford Fiesta. And before we have to turn this over to Pat Patterson, Richard Petty, I want you to scan down the race car display that we have here under the canopy. There's Ken Block's Gymkhana Rally X Games car sitting down there at the end, parked next to our Formula Drift car driven by Vaughn Gittin. We're always excited to bring other racing series that Ford performs in here to the NASCAR fans at Homestead-Miami. So great vehicles. Also, as we walk down here towards the main stage where we're going to meet up with the King, we have two very unique vehicles. These are vehicles from the movie Need for Speed. This is the Beast F450, tremendously modified to show that just as it was in the movie. And then the pace car, Sunday's pace car, the Need for Speed Mustang, modified up to 900 horsepower. We're going to showcase that on the track on Sunday as the official pace car of the Ford EcoBoost 400. Okay, we're on our way, and I want you to take a look at the number 22 Nationwide Discount Tire, Stanley number 9 Fusion, the Miller Lite number 2 Fusion, and Greg Biffle's Cutaway number 16 3M. With that, enjoy being with you, race fans. I'm going to turn it back to Pat Patterson. I see the King waiting for us over here on the podium for another interview, or with an interview for him. So take it away, racing guy.
All right, thanks, Tim. Great shot of all the cars. Thanks so much for that trip through the display. Come on, guys, let's head up to the stage and let's see if we can catch up with the King right now. There is nothing better than to get a chance to have fun with the 7-time champion, and he, of course, is Richard Petty. Everybody, give him a nice round of applause, everybody. The King is here. The King's in the house. Richard, I see that. I know you don't, and never have. Man, I got to tell you, I'm excited. It's the end of the year, but it's been a fun year, hasn't it?
Well, it could have been a lot funner if we'd have done a lot better. Probably 2/3 of the races this year was, we thought was pretty good shape. The latter part of the season, we kind of fell through the cracks, but we've been doing a lot of planning for next year, and I guess we're like everybody else right now. Let's get this over with and get ready for next year.
Of course, got Marcus Ambrose and Aric Almirola, and going to have some Nationwide Series racing going on next year as well. We'll get onto that a little bit later on in the program. But, one of the big things that I wanted to ask you about is it's Ford Championship weekend. And I know out of your 7 championships, there had to be one that still sticks out the most, that maybe it's the hardest one you had to drive, or maybe it was just the freakiest one in the way it all came together. What comes to your mind when you think about those 7? Well,
we got lucky on a lot of them, I put it that way, and lost a couple in the very last race. I remember 73 at Rockingham, all we had to do was finish the race, and we blew up about halfway through the race, cost us a championship. But then on the other hand, if we looked at some that we won, somebody else probably blew it up to let us win the championship. So, we were just fortunate to be able to win 7 of them, and I guess the last one in 79 probably was the most contested, because with 5 or 6 races to go, we were completely out of the point standing, and then all of a sudden won a couple of races, and Darrell Waltrip was leading the thing, and he started having trouble, and it wound up whoever had the last race, whoever had the least trouble was going to win, and we had less trouble than he did, so we won the championship. So I think that was our closest championship.
Well, I know that the fans, all of your fans, certainly loved every one of those championships, and the fact that Ford Motor Company makes such a big swing at taking care of the fans, bringing big displays like this. It's fun to be with promotional partners, and you've been with a lot of great promotional partners over the year. I don't think anybody does it as good or better than Ford, do they?
No, I think Ford does a pretty good job with it. You got to figure they're probably the first ones that had a race car, okay? I mean, Henry had one car and he went out and started racing it, so they've been racing ever since. And, we were fortunate enough to win our 100th race with a Ford. So, that's a big plus from my standpoint. I hope it's a big plus from theirs.
What about your race teams going into next year? This year we had the introduction of the Gen6 car, and that took a lot of kind of struggling to get started with parts and pieces and all that sort of stuff. But this year they're going to make some rules changes, et cetera. But how good is it going to be to at least not to have to build new race cars over the off season?
Well, it's one of them deals like every year you rebuild. They've changed a few of the rules. I don't think the general public will see that much as far as looking at the car, but hopefully it'll make all the cars a little bit more competitive. We can have better races, and hopefully that works. We're trying to do a little bit of R&D on our own here now that we hadn't been able to do in the last 2 or 3 years. So we're looking forward to that part of it too, because we've not really contributed a whole lot from Richard Petty Motorsports. We've been kind of taking what everybody else is going to do and trying to sort of go along with the show. We want to try to get back into the swing of things like we did at Petty Enterprises, where you know, the first one out of the gate's us. And you know, we got a long way to go, but we got to start somewhere, and this looks like a good time to start it.
We're talking with the king, and in fact, if you want to send us an email question, you can do that, espnraceguy@gmail.com. You can also send us a tweet at Ford Racing, then it's FCW live is the hashtag. So send us something, because we'd love to be able to ask Richard a question, have you ask him a question. And of course, we got all the great fans that have come out here to have some fun with us from Ford Championship weekend. RP, when you think about the racetracks we're going to, and there's been a lot of chatter about how fast we're going and so forth and so on, but it sounds like to me that the effort is afoot, like you just mentioned, to get us more competitive racing on the 1.5 mile speedways. And I know your cars have been pretty competitive on 1.5 miles this year.
Yeah, a lot of the running's been good. We just haven't been finishing that good. But, you know, I think everybody's looking at NASCAR, especially for the fans' standpoint and for everybody's standpoint. You know, what can we do to make the racing more interesting? Right now we get the car out front and he's long gone, then he gets in the back, he can't go anywhere. They're trying to solve that problem, and the aero numbers and stuff like that have really changed racing. Back in the day, we didn't worry about aero numbers. You worried about suspension-wise. And, you know, I think a lot of us are trying to get NASCAR to say, okay, let's sort of forget about the aero numbers and all that stuff. Let's go back to putting the cars on springs and, you know, letting them move around a little bit on the racetrack. And then that way the driver then will be more important to what's going on than the car will be.
Last thing for you, and that is you and I have one thing in common besides being good North Carolinians to start with. I got a big old F-250 Super Duty pickup, which I pull around to the racetrack and ride around in the whole time. Joey, I know your driver. He also he takes care of that F-250 as well. Do you like the trucks, and do you like the ride that a Ford gets? Because when fans buy a car or a truck and they get a Ford, they want a good ride and they want a quality vehicle.
Yeah, it just blows my mind. We're getting in a pickup truck, or what they call a pickup truck, and it's got everything that other Fords got. I mean, everything. It's got the computers, got the backup deals, you know what I mean? And you get in the thing, the only thing you realize that's different is you're just setting up higher in the thing. But as far as the way the thing rides, gas mileage, all that stuff, I think it's about 15 cents difference in the whole deal. And like I said, I can't believe I'm riding around in a truck. You know what I mean? Because growing up and stuff, the cars wasn't near what they are to now, and the trucks were trucks. Now the trucks are cars, but they still do the same thing as the trucks used to do. So they got the best of both worlds that way.
Richard, you are the best. Give this man a big round of applause. Seven-time champion Richard Petty up here with us. Richard, have a great weekend, and thank you so much for your time. All right, boys. You're live with us on stage right here, just talking with the king at the Ford display here at Ford Championship Weekend here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. I'm Pat Patterson, and we can't thank you so much for tuning in. Now, don't forget, we're going to be here on Saturday, 11:30, and Sunday at 11:30. We got all kinds of special guests that's going to join us, so don't forget to join us each and every day. Now, the Generation 6 car, you just heard me talking about it. Yes, it's on display. You just saw it a moment ago. But how about if I get a couple of guys that I think you know to help us talk a little bit about that car? Come on, let's go back down over to the display right now. Having fun on Ford Championship Weekend. And look at these couple of guys with the Motorcraft shirts on. I'm not sure if I know who these guys. It's the Wood brothers. Look at this. How you guys doing? Great to see you. Eddie and Lynn Wood standing right here at the Ford Championship Weekend. And you guys, of course, you know, when I think about Fords, two faces come up because Edsel's and the Ford family, and that's you guys. Are we having fun this weekend or what, guys?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I always look forward to this race, you know, with the season ending, and it's all about Ford, and we're all about that.
And I know you're having a good time as well, Lynn.
Yeah, we can't wait for the race. Practice starts here in a few minutes, and qualify this evening. Hope it doesn't rain, you know, so get a good starting spot.
I know you got Trevor in the car looking for a great run this weekend, but I want to talk about the Hall of Fame. I want to talk about all the good things that's going on with the Hall of Fame. And, of course, you know, you guys are a big part of that right now. What's happening, boys?
A lot. You know, I've been really fortunate, you know, our dad and our uncle is already in the Hall of Fame, and we do a lot of things in and around all that. It kind of, when it all started, it just really made us aware of all the history that you know, our dad and uncle have done, and it's all done with Ford Motor Company products. It's what really makes it special. And, you know, it just, every picture we have has got a Ford car in it.
Well, from David Pearson, and I was just talking to Richard Petty up there a few minutes ago, and all the great drivers that you've had behind the wheel, won the big races like the Daytona 500. This year, though, we've got a Generation 6 race car, and I know you guys, like everybody else, had to battle hard all last winter to get these cars ready to go and ready to race. And there's a Generation 6 car right over here. It's a cutaway car. And, you know, guys, if I could ask you a few questions and maybe just give me some generic answers here in terms of what the race fans can understand. But why was this car, what made this car different from the car we raced in 2012, Eddie?
Well, basically the look of it. You know, it went back to, you know, this is a Ford Fusion, and it looks like a Ford Fusion. And, you know, the Ford Motor Company was really on the forefront of making the first one. They actually made the first car, Gen 6 car for NASCAR, and our car looks like the one that, you know, you drive on the street. And I think that's really significant in that, you know, the manufacturers have got something really that relates to what's on the racetrack. You know, showroom and racetrack now, it looks the same.
And are you pleased with how your cars, the Generation 6 cars this year, your Fusions, how they've progressed through the year? How much more the team has learned? How much more the engineering department has been able to bring a better car to the racetrack each and every time?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of advancements since the first ones were built. You know, along with we're part of the Roush Fenway engineering group plus Ford Racing, and there's been tons of advancements just in something as simple as making the cars lighter. You know, that sounds like not a really big deal, but you put a dollar figure to pounds, and it's a big deal.
All right, let me get you to come over here for just a second, and I want to shoot up here in the front of the car. Eddie, if you come over here, explain to people the different parts and pieces right here. I'm going to let you hold the microphone. Just kind of show people, because the front end geometry of the car is so critical in to make it turn around the corner. Yeah. You know what I mean? Hold on to that. Just point out the different pieces on the car.
All right, that's the really hard part. Is making these cars turn. Everyone fights that. But, you know, this is a sway bar arm, and the sway bar is here, and it's connected on both sides. It's the same thing. It's the brake caliper. You can see right in here, that's your spindle, which, you know, holds the hub and your wheels on. Steering box is right in here. Your springs are here, and this screw jack right here, that's how you determine your height, your ride height. And, you know, you see cars at different levels, but it's all controlled right there. And here's a shock absorber, and
we're all time talking about caster and camber.
Yeah.
This is what the tire does. When
this is camber from this way to that way, and the left front, the top of the tire is always leaned outward. Mm-hmm. And because when the car travels, you just imagine the whole thing goes down. This wheel straightens up. Then you want to keep your tire patch as much rubber touching the asphalt as you can.
Right.
That's kind of the principle of it. And the caster part of it is just how much it's laid back due to these upper control arms, and that's what makes your steering wheels, like if you're going down the highway and you turn your car, your steering wheel straightens itself back up. That's right. Because of caster.
And explain also how different this is from a car 25 years ago. I mean, these parts and pieces that are up here.
Well, the parts and pieces are, you know, you had spindles, you had brake rotors and everything. The same parts are there. They're just a lot more expensive, I can promise you that. And they're scienced out to, you know, the max. Now everything is lighter, more efficient. You know, parts now, based versus 25 years ago, the parts are so more efficient. You know, they cost more and they're lighter and all that, but you know, most of the parts on a race car now are almost bulletproof. You don't see things breaking and stuff like that like, you know, you did in years past. That's probably the biggest advancement.
All right, stand up here a minute. Now I'm going to ask you one last thing here too. Look out at all of this for a second. Shoot back over that way at all this display. Did you ever in your life imagine you would come to a NASCAR race and see a manufacturer like Ford have anything like what we got? People jumping off of the zip lines and racing little off-road cars. This doggonest thing ever seen.
Yeah, Ford Motor Company's got it going on down here. I mean, you got, you know, all their new cars. They got race cars on display. Everything you can think of. They got engines over here. They got all their engines. And, you know, the fan can come in here and find out everything they want to know, and whether it be a race car or a road car.
I want to ask you another thing, too, here real quick. The race car next year, we're going to change the front end of our Ford Fusion around a little bit. Lynn, let me ask you about that. Is it going to help it? I mean, I know we had kind of trash collect up here on the front end of it that we were just talking about that, right?
Basically what they're going to allow us to do is pull this out closer to flush right here instead of the screen being in this far. And that way hopefully the trash won't collect as much. So this will all be flush.
What about aerodynamically? Will it help us any? I mean, because you put tape on the front, and the reason you put tape on it's why?
We put tape on it to when we go to qualify. It reduces drag, so it should run faster, and also puts more downforce on the nose, which makes it handle better. But you can only stand that for like a lap to a lap and a half, because it'll overheat your the engine, and then you got another whole nother set of problems.
Right.
But like I say, that should be close to the same aerodynamically, but the trash won't be on there.
All right, one last thing here, Eddie, I'll ask you this question. You know, when we talk about you guys, we always go back and talk about going to Indy and showing people how to do pit stops and all this stuff. And no joke now, whoever wins this race on Sunday here at Homestead-Miami Speedway, the Ford Championship 400, whoever wins it is going to have to be spot on perfect with pit stops. How hard does your team work on pit stops today compared to what you did, 30 years ago?
Just the amount of practice that the teams do now, and everyone does it. You've got specialized kids that change tires, carry tires, jack the car, and fuel them. Years ago, you would use the team you had. You take the biggest guy, and he was going to be the jack man. You take the fastest guy with the hands, he'd be a tire changer, and then you need another big guy to carry tires. But they had to work there. You just kind of single it all out. I used to change front tires. Lynn used to change rears. But now there's so much emphasis on pit stops from track position. It means everything. I mean, I'd rather have good track position than a new set of tires right now. It's unbelievable how competitive it is.
And they are athletes, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean,
I don't know that they were back when it was like Leonard and Delano and Daddy and Clay doing it, or us, but they are now.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to next year. I think the changes on the Ford Fusion is going to be good, number one. And number two, I think that obviously we're going to be in the hunt for the championship again next year, and that's what it's all about. So anyway, can we win the race on Sunday? Can we get that done?
I hope so. We come down here, we tested here, and got a really good car. And the last time this car ran was at Michigan. It was a good car there. So if we can get the thing dialed in, make some good pit stops, maybe we got a shot.
Eddie, Lynn, thank you guys. We appreciate everything you do for Ford Motor Company. We appreciate you being here with us. And thanks again. Have a great run this weekend. All right, we're about out of time here for today, but we want to remind you that coming up tomorrow, if you've never had a chance to meet Edsel Ford, guess what? He's going to be right here. We're going to have a chance to meet him over in the garage area. That's right. You're going to get access to the Ford Championship weekend in the garage area. So that's coming up tomorrow. Also, Jamie Allison from Ford, he'll be with us. We'll get a chance to chat with him. Again, more behind the scenes, all access for you. And Jack Roush will be on the program tomorrow. Obviously, Jack's got a big dog in the hunt, so to speak, each and every year. We'll get a chance to chat with him. And Sam Hornish Jr. is racing for the NASCAR Nationwide Series Championship, and he'll be battling Austin Dillon tomorrow right here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. We'll get a chance to chat with him. We'll hear his strategy, and we'll hopefully be able to cheer him on to a Ford Championship Saturday. That's all coming up tomorrow. Don't forget, you can send us your questions. All you got to do is tweet us at Ford Racing FCW Live. Ford Racing, hashtag FCW Live. Or you can send us an email at espnraceguy@gmail.com. I want to thank you so much for being here with us. Tell a friend, get on board, get to fordracing.com, and be with us as Ford takes you behind the scenes right here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. I'm Pat Patterson. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow on Saturday for more behind-the-scenes access from your friends at Ford.